Hello, Sarah.
Hello, Jeremy.
Here we are for episode 2 of our series looking at AI and how to get ready for AI. Are you excited?
I am very excited.
Me too. So today we are going to look at an announcement that Microsoft made about a month ago about Copilot Chat. Now, I don't know about you, but I have to say I am fairly confused about this multiple wording and multiple naming conventions when it comes to Copilot and Copilot Chat.
Yeah, super confused. Microsoft has a longstanding habit of using the same words to describe very different things. The recent one that comes to mind is OneDrive. So it's I'm
Yes,
happy
OneDrive for
to
business, OneDrive for
yeah.
personal. What is this?
OneDrive web app, OneDrive, So I think yeah, let's dig into what they actually mean by Copilot Chat.
Yeah, so we had this this blog come out from Jared Spataro, the chief marketing officer in the AI at work over at Microsoft, and he kind of laid out what they're trying to do here with Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, and that's being distinguished from Microsoft 365 Copilot, if
Mm-hmm.
I understand correctly. And it looks like they're trying to parse this in a way where not everybody needs a Copilot license. Is that your assumption as well?
Yeah, I think the co-pilot for all header, I think is the idea that they're starting to give people a little more co-pilot capability in the free version, basically what comes with the Microsoft 365 subscription versus the fairly steep, $30 a month M365 Copilot subscription, which came out like late last year, I believe.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I wonder if Copilot licenses are flying off the shelves as quickly as they expected them to.
Hmm.
This is something we've talked about quite a bit about, AI is a really interesting phenomenon where it has this incredible potential that once you actually start using it, you get super excited about. But there's also just as strong headwinds that you start experiencing as soon as you start thinking about rolling this out. And I wonder if this is a way, I'm just speculating here, of course, if this is a way that Microsoft's looking to kind of just get Copilot into the hands of more people without having to go over that, that $30 a month licensing hurdle.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. The $30, I know for a lot of our clients, it's giving them pause. I mean, they really want to make sure it's worth it. And certainly, rolling that out in like a mid or large size organization, it's not an insignificant amount of money. So it seems like, yeah, they're opening up just a teeny bit of the functionality of the M365 Copilot without the $30 a month price tag. But then, they're doing like a pay as you go kind of based on consumption charge for some of the higher level capabilities like the AI agents.
So effectively, that means that anybody in an organization can utilize an agent that someone has created that will give them special access, special capabilities, special level of information without needing a Copilot license.
Yeah, that's my understanding, at least as it stands today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Subject to change, of course.
Yeah, exactly. I have this comparison chart I could pull up. Let me just go ahead and share that. And this kind of breaks it down, I think, in somewhat understandable terms. We've got, initially, this is crazy because I thought at first that they were calling this just Copilot Chat. But at least in this chart, they're calling it Microsoft 365 Copilot Chat, which is super confusing because when they came out with M365 Copilot, they were distinguishing it from just plain old Copilot because it had the M365 in front of it.
Well, no, but remember that there's a bunch of users that are not on corporate licenses, right? These are students, teachers,
Right.
they may just have the regular Microsoft Office style, whatever they call it, license. And there's still a Copilot for them
True.
too, without all the goodies that we're going to look at here.
That's right. That's like the Copilot that you get in Bing or, that shows up. Okay. Got it. So on this one, the main core of Copilot Chat, with which some people have probably already dabbled in, is essentially like a Microsoft branded version of ChatGPT, right? It's based on the same model. That's why Microsoft was a big investor in ChatGPT. So you basically get ChatGPT on your desktop through Microsoft. So that's included. However, the Copilot Chat that's grounded in your work data, and this is something I know here at Ideal State, we spun up our 65 Copilot licenses several months ago and have been digging in with that. That is super cool. Basically, what it does is it can mine all of the data within M365 and beyond if you have connectors, plus web, to give you answers and kind of serve as your work assistant. So that is not included in the 365 Copilot Chat.
Now, an interesting question there. So
Yeah.
here we're basically, what we're saying is that with the Copilot license, when you are using a chat window in Microsoft 365, theoretically that chat window can see everything you can see in your tenant.
That's right.
Now, one question I have, is, it's because we have chat windows that show up in several applications, as you well know, in Outlook, in the Microsoft 365 main interface, and Teams and several other tools as well. I assume it's the same across the board, where each one of those would have the same level of access, or I'm wondering if it varies from application to application.
So, as you can see from this chart, the personal assistant that lives inside of the different apps is not part of the Copilot Chat experience. And I personally don't know, because it seems to me, using Copilot in Teams and in Word, Teams, for instance, seems hyper contextual. Like I'm asking it questions about discussions that are going on. And I haven't actually, that's an interesting experiment, like challenged it, like putting in the same prompt in different locations and seeing if the answers are different based on where you are. I know, before when they came out with Microsoft Search, that was the case. It was contextual. It didn't mean that it didn't have access to that other information, but it would, prioritize things based on where you were. I don't know if that's true in Copilot. So then I think where the real difference here is in the agents category, because as you can see, for the 365 Copilot, you have the ability to create agents both in SharePoint and in Copilot Studio, although you need to license Copilot Studio separately if you need to do higher order things there. And then you can create all the agents, blah, blah, blah. But in Copilot Chat, you can do the same thing, except that if you want to create agents based on work data, you pay a consumption-based fee, right? And I just did a little digging before our conversation, and it looks like when you build an agent based on work-based data in Copilot Chat, you can select up to 20 data sources, and it could be a file, a folder, or a SharePoint site. And there are file size limitations for each individual file, but you can designate up to 20 of those, and that becomes your knowledge base for the agent. So they were throwing out different use cases, and I'll show a slide on that in a minute, but basically the idea is these are purpose-built. They have a very limited range of, data. And so they're not mining the entire, body of content that you have access to in M365.
Interesting. Okay. So what we're saying here is that when you create an agent using Copilot Studio, you can offer that to anyone in your organization, regardless of whether or not they have a Copilot license or not. And when they use it, they'll be charged based on usage through Azure credits of some sort. And my understanding is that those credits are, they're not expensive. It's not, and of course it's going to add up if you start rolling this out enterprise wide.
Right.
But it's not a high ticket item necessarily. Of course, it just depends on your usage. So that's interesting. So you can, if you have departments that are not sitting at their desks generating content in Word and Excel and PowerPoint, if they don't need deep access to corporate data and information, they might not need a Copilot license right now. But you can still take advantage of AI. You can still help them elevate their productivity by offering them agents that will help them do their work on a day-to-day basis. So give them extra tools in their tool belt.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really cool.
I think it's really cool. I was actually just talking to a client earlier today about this and, suggesting that with, just a couple Copilot Studio licenses, they could basically serve the entire organization with some pretty amazing functionality. Yeah.
I was under the impression that Copilot Studio was included, but maybe that's a matter of what level of 365 license you have. Because I feel like with ours, with E5, it's included, but maybe not for E3 and maybe not for others.
No, I don't even think it's included in E5. It's actually, there's a separate license that gives you access to Copilot Studio. And it's up to a certain amount of what they call messages, which are data calls essentially. But they have some strange metering approach that they use. There's some pages that they kind of describe it, but I think you just need to run some tests. And I think they have some simulators where you can figure out how many credits you would, need to run a certain type of agent. But like you said, I mean, it seems like it's still going to be way cheaper than buying, $30 a month Copilot licenses for everyone in your organization.
Right.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a larger organization.
Yeah, totally. So these are just, I pulled up this slide. I mean, this is like the basic stuff, right? So this is from an individual point of view, the things that you could use Copilot for today based on, the ability to just use essentially like the Chat GPT style, web agent that it provides to you. So nothing crazy exciting here. But I'm going to stop sharing this screen and then just go over to the actual live version, just to show for a moment something, what this looks like in practice.
Oh,
and
good.
Then what some of the templates are for agents that you can create. So let me just pull that up.
Now, while you're doing that, in those examples that you gave, we're talking about a user who does not have a Copilot license, but they have access to the Copilot Chat, which gives them essentially, Copilot that has access to the web.
Right.
Is there also the ability to upload documents to include in your query at that level?
For people who have Chat, but they don't have Copilot Studio or M365 Copilot. Right.
Right.
That's what you mean.
Okay. Yeah, I can see here in the window, the chat window, there's an attachment option down below.
But this is so right now what we're looking at, this is M365 Copilot. So this is the $30 per user per month version. And you'll notice here that I have a toggle that says web or work.
Right.
So if I toggle over to work, that means that I'm querying not only the web, but also my work content as well. The web tab essentially functions just like the Copilot Chat. So it's limited to just the web. And I have another example of what that looks like. But you'll notice here that on the right, and this is the same for Chat, I have the option to get agents. So that could include agents that my organization has deployed that are available to me. So like if HR built an agent based off of the employee handbook and whatever other 20 data sources they wanted to attach to their agent, they could deploy that for the whole organization. And I, as a regular employee, just having Copilot Chat, could add that, to my Copilot dashboard and have access to that agent anytime.
That's great.
Yeah. So I think that's pretty cool. But then because I have these extra licenses, I have the ability to actually create an agent. And so you'll see in here for the create an agent experience, I have a Copilot that's actually helping me build a Copilot agent. So talk about meta. So I have this agent here that's like, hi, I'm here to help you build an agent. What would you like to do? And so I can tell it what I want it to do. Or you'll notice that there are not many, but there are a few templates that I can use. Career coach, idea coach, prompt coach. We can put links to the descriptions and more on these templates and just the chat stuff in the description of this video. But that's basically, where you start, and you can start describing the agent you want to create and then give it some data to work on and go from there. So pretty simple, pretty,
It's really
user-friendly.
incredible how easy it is to create one. I mean, I think it's about a 30-second process. I mean, of course, there's getting your prompt, but I think that, that's something that Satya Nadella was really pointing out, is like the agents are not like a big deal in a sense.
Yeah.
That you can deploy these relatively quickly and easily for any kind of repetitive tasks that you're doing. If it's rewriting drafts or emails or presentations, you can have sort of agents standing by
Yeah.
ready to help for various tasks. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, HR is definitely the typical use case, as is IT. And they sort of have these like agents in a box, they're sort of templatized. And so it makes it super easy to create them. I just wanted to show this other view, which is now I'm logged in as someone who does not have a M365 Copilot full
Okay.
license or studio license. I'm just a regular
A normie.
employee. Yeah, a normie with the free Copilot. And you'll notice that I don't have the toggle between web and work. So
Right.
if I start doing my queries, it's just going to do that. But I do notice that I do have files that I can add here. And so, I think I'd have to experiment to see what the limitations of that are. But I imagine, just like with ChatGPT, you can feed information in and it can spit it out in different forms, but it's not going to necessarily generate something totally new and different. I don't know. I have to look into that a little further. Then you see on the right-hand side, this get agents. So if I were to want to pick an agent, you see where it says added by your org. So if my org had created, that's actually here, I have to be in the agents. There are all kinds of agents that are being added by other, third-party providers.
Right.
So, there's a lot of interesting, fast-moving developments.
Right.
It's a lot to track.
So like with Monday.com, that's a really interesting example. Monday.com can, of course, update their software all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But what they're doing here is something different. They're inserting functionality, AI functionality, into Microsoft 365 in a way that can show up in a variety of places, so that presumably you can interact with Monday.com data from your Microsoft 365 Copilot
Right.
window, which is
Yeah,
pretty awesome. You could
that's
say,
pretty
hey,
cool.
what are my tasks for the day, or any number of things.
Exactly. Yeah. So you'll notice like in here under agents, there's, some that are Microsoft created, like Idea Coach, Writing Coach.
Yeah. Those are
which,
the agents I
yeah,
think that we saw
hmm,
before. Yep.
career coach. So those are the templates. And then there's a bunch of other ones that, yeah, exactly, are kind of driving, experiences using the data that's resident in their platform. Of course, you have to license their service to be able to make use of that, but it's kind of bringing it all front and center through the Copilot interface. And I think that's kind of what Microsoft wants, is it's wants to be the front door to all these different, digital workplace experiences. And
Not to get
yeah.
too geeky, but I'm just find myself wondering, like, are they relying on the user's permission to access the data, or is it more of a back-end API level connection, in which case they have to reproduce user level permissions? I don't know. It's kind of
Interesting. Yeah, it would be
interesting
interesting to
questions that come up.
know because, I mean, there have been long-standing built-in integrations with, these apps in Teams, where you'll get alerted, when somebody posts a new task for you in Monday or something like that. But
Right.
um, I, I
It's a
don't
little
know
different.
the back-end data piece of
Yeah,
that.
a notification stream is one thing. Another, being able to query the whole Monday.com
That's
database, or at
right.
least what you have access to, is a whole nother story. So yeah,
I
it's a very
sense
interesting
a I
territory.
sense a chapter 2 coming to this conversation about data residency and
Yes,
third-party AI agents.
authentication and access,
Yeah.
and
So yeah, so I think, that's pretty much what we've learned so far. I think there's obviously a lot more to dig into. I'm personally interested in kind of what the limits are of using my personal work data in the free version of Copilot, what I can do and not do. So I think I'm going to tool around in there for a while. And I think it will also be interesting to experiment with deploying an agent, and what the experience is for the end user who just has the free license, like how limited or expansive is that?
hmm
More to come.
yeah, no, I love that. That sounds great. Well, cool. Do we want to cover anything else on this stream, or is that good for today?
I think that pretty much wraps it up for today. I think it was good to check in. See, we thought this was going to be a minor blip on the screen of Copilot news, but turns out Copilot Chat is kind of opening up the capabilities of Copilot to a lot more users. And it kind of was under the radar. I mean, it took us a month to kind of fully notice that this was out there and available in the way that it is. So I'm sure there are other people out there that are feeling the same way. And hopefully this makes you curious enough to check it out and think about how it might be useful at your organization.
Absolutely. Well, great. Well, thanks, Sarah, and yeah, we'll pick it up again next time.
Sounds good. Thanks,
All right, we'll see
Jeremy.
you.
Bye.
Bye.